Title: AITA for refusing to forgive my parents over something they lied about over 10 years ago. When I was a young girl, I used to spend a lot of time with my nan. She had a big collection of jewelry that I would beg to see, so each time I came over we would sit down at her vanity and she would show me each piece. There was one bracelet that stood out to me. It was gold with red stones on it, and I used to believe that my nan had to be a magical queen because a bracelet like that would obviously contain powers. She died when I was 8 years old. My mother brought back her jewelry box, and I pleaded to keep that bracelet. Neither parent thought it would be worth more than its weight because a lot of her jewelry was just cheap accessories, so they let me keep it. Fast forward a couple of years, my mum and dad went to a wedding of my mum's cousins, where her aunt gave her a photo book with old family pictures of my nan as a girl with her family. In one of the pictures is my great-nana when she was 20s wearing that bracelet, which spiked their interest. So they went and got it looked at. Turns out it was pricey. They never told me the amount. They sat me down when they got back and said because it was worth so much it was too risky for me to wear, and promised when I was an adult I can have it back. I got one last look at it and it was gone. Obviously I was very sad, but I never forgotten. I asked when I was 18 and they told me to wait until I am 21. I asked them last week AMD. They finally admitted they sold it that same week I last saw it. But they said the money went on our trip to Disney World. That bracelet is one of the only memories I have with Nan, and it is gone. Title: AITA for yelling at my brother for cheating while he was finally accepting his sexuality. My brother, M30, and me, 38M, grew up in a very religious household. My father was all about good Christian family values, and yet, ironically, he cheated my mom all the time and he expected for us to accept it. I hated his guts, but my brother always tried to please him, to have his approval. When he was a teen, we shared a desktop computer and he sometimes forgot to delete his browser history. I noticed he went many gay support sites, so I thought he might be into guys. I never asked because A, it was his choice to tell me when he was ready, and B, I didn't care. He was my brother and I love him. I understood why he would keep it quiet though. If he came out when we were living with our father, I knew shit would hit the fan. Years passed and he didn't came out even after losing contact with our dad. I thought that maybe he was just exploring his sexuality back then, or he was bi or whatever, because he got a GF and married her 5 years ago. This girl, let's call her Julie, is an angel. She got along with everyone and she became fast friends with my wife, who sees her as her little sister of sorts. I owe her a lot because she was instrumental into making my wife accept she needed help after going through a terrible postpartum depression. Fast forward to this week. Julie call us sobbing and tell us my brother is cheating on her and that his lover is a male friend of his from work. This has been going on since 3 years ago or so. I went ballistic and I called him. I told him he was doing the same thing to Julie as our father did to our mom. My brother then tells me he was struggling with accepting he was gay all this time and that I should be more understanding. He accused me then. I was so mad because he was gay and implied I was low-key discriminating him. I told him that cheating is cheating and that Julie doesn't deserve this. We haven't talked in days and I am starting to feel guilty. Maybe I should have been more tactful, I don't know. I just feel that cheating doesn't have a free pass at all. People in Reddit, AITA update. I sent him a lengthy email talking about how I suspected he was gay all this time and that I was sorry he felt he couldn't trust me. I explained to him I didn't care about his sexual orientation and that if I was mad, it because he cheated, nothing else. I told him I thought that his behavior toward Julie was reprehensible, not his preferences. I said he needed to apologize and the responsible of his actions. Maybe go to counseling with her so she could get closure, I don't know. Title: AITA for not letting my brother and his wife come to my wedding after he kicked me out. I, male 25, currently live alone and work as a mechanic. Both my parents are deceased. I have an older brother who took me in after my parents' house was taken and it was absolutely difficult phase. I was working at auto shop and was demanded to pay for food, household stuff for my brother and his wife so I could continue to live with them. I couldn't save enough money to move out and it got worse. My life turned upside down when I was diagnosed with Hodgkin's lymphoma at the local community hospital. At first several doctors could not identify the type of cancer I had. Unsure of what to do, I was referred to a specialist, which required me to pay X amount of money. I stopped working cause I was too weak. My brother's wife completely ignored what I was going through and started complaining about me being at their house and not helping. She kept trying to turn my brother against me, and he ended up getting into a huge argument with me while I was undergoing chemotherapy for the second month, and I was kicked out by my brother, who claimed my condition was my own problem and he had no obligation to take care of an adult. Just his kids. I was a complete mess. A friend of mine took me in. He was confused by my brother's actions and lack of empathy. He had to be treating me like this in my darkest days. Relatives weren't present as much as I hoped for them to be. It was an incredibly difficult phase for me. I was mad and frustrated. This affected my treatment, and my brother only showed up once at the hospital but gave me nothing. It's been over 2 years now. My fiancée lives in another town, currently taking her end of semester exams. We're getting married on Jan. A relative of mine gave the news to my brother. Clearly he has been asking about me for a while. And he wanted to come to me several times, but I refused to let him. He knew about the wedding and said he and his wife wanted to come. Said he was hurt other people were invited but he wasn't. Pretended that I was being hustled towards him for no reason, and said his wife is the one encouraging him to call me and visit right now. Funny, she did the opposite while I was struggling. I refused to give him an invitation or even have a talk with him because of much heartache that has been caused already. But I was getting criticism for my stance and was told to forgive and forget. I guess my brother didn't know how serious my condition was, as we had this argument while I was beginning my treatment. He actually thought it was okay and that I could handle myself as an adult. He had his own issues and didn't care enough to fix things between us. Title: AITA for not wanting to be in a child's life that I gave birth to. Background: my best friends couldn't have children. The risk of her death was too high and she already was having fertility problems. So long story short, I agreed to be her family surrogate, mostly due to the fact that she was my best friend. I cannot stand her husband though. The only reason I did this was for her. So I became pregnant with their child and everything went smoothly. There was a contract in place that I wouldn't be financially responsible for the kid and so on. It was a pretty standard contract. Well, that was 6 years ago and my best friend died. Due to the 2020 plague, I wasn't able to attend her funeral. Her husband has been calling me recently that I should step up as the kid's mother because I did give birth to her. He keeps calling that I need to be in his daughter's life. After declining multiple times, I finally told him that that kid isn't mine even though I gave birth to her. That I have no obligation to do jack shit and that I'm not going to replace my best friend as her mother. He called me an asshole and going to get his lawyer involved. Title: AITA for having my partner over even though she makes my roommate uncomfy. I 30F, cis lesbian, own my house. I've been dating my girlfriend for almost a year, and she's planning on moving in when we've reached 2 years if things are going well. She's an amazing person, and I love her so very much. The issue is that one of my friends, 32F, trans lesbian, wants to buy her own house, and asked if she could use my guest room for a year to save up for the down payment. I agreed. She splits the utilities, but doesn't pay rent. I've known my friend since college and so was happy to help. She's been with me for about 6 months, and recently came to me to say that she was uncomfy with me having my girlfriend over. I asked if she had done something wrong, or had said something transphobic, and my roommate said no. My girlfriend has been incredibly supportive, according to my roommate, even gifting her some expensive makeup. I asked why she was uncomfy, and my roommate said she didn't have a reason, and just asked she didn't come over anymore. I asked my girlfriend if she could think of anything that might cause this, and she said no. So, I went back to my roommate and said no. Unless there was a specific reason why she suddenly didn't want my girlfriend around, it was my house and I would have her over. A vague feeling wasn't enough of a reason to ban her for 6 months. My roommate got incredibly upset, started crying, and ran off to her room. She's now gone back and forward between yelling at me and crying, and I'm wondering if I'm the asshole here. Update. So, it's been a long day, lol. I've been reading everything said here, and a lot of you were right on the money. I finally got my roommate to calm down, got some ice cream delivered, and we had a good long talk. She's apparently been in love with me said college, and thought she had moved on since I only love her as a friend, sister, but living together has made the feelings come back. She wasn't planning on telling me, but my walls are apparently thinner than I thought, which, oh boy, I hate to know that now, so hearing and seeing me with my girlfriend later has been hard. While she's been on hormones for a while, apparently her doctor recently changed something, so her emotions are all out of whack. Her horrible, and I do mean horrible, cousin just got engaged, which made her upset that she's never had a relationship when someone who acts like her cousin does. Add in body issues since my girlfriend and I wear tank tops and shorts to sleep in, which she feels like she can't do, and it's been a building storm that I guess just cracked. We laughed, we cried, we ate too many sweets, and eventually called my girlfriend to come over so the two of them could have their own private chat, which had its own round of laughing, crying, and eventually coming to an understanding. She's going to talk to her doctor about her meds, and I'm going to help her find a therapist since I had such great luck finding my own and she hasn't gone to one in a long while. She has apologized for her behavior. My girlfriend will still be coming over, but I'm now self-conscious about the thinner walls, so my roommate won't be hearing anything she shouldn't. We'll see how things look in a month or two. Hopefully it'll be okay, since I have PMI on my mortgage and it sucks, and I would love for her to not have to have that, but she's saved up enough for a small down payment and PMI wouldn't kill her budget, so if she has to buy early she can. We all basically ended up getting pizza and watching bad horror movies all night, which will suck for work today, but overall a good end to things. Thank you all for the support and the rewards and everything, and I'm sorry for using uncomfy. I was worried about the character limit.